It's the classic love triangle that pretty much everyone knows. Archie Andrews, the wholesome 1950s all-American redhead, and his competing love interests. You know them, you love them. They're more archetypes than characters at this point. Single-person stand-ins for the overall types of teenage girls that were considered desirable dating partners back when the original Archie comics came out. There's Betty, the pretty blonde girl next door, who's sweet and kind, and she'd probably be the perfect 50s housewife someday. And then there's Veronica, the raven-haired sophisticate, who's the spoiled but not rotten daughter of an elderly business tycoon. And then of course there's Christine, a beautiful but malevolent 1958 Plymouth Fury created by Stephen King that... Wait, what? If you didn't grow up with cable, there's a solid chance that you'll remember the handful of Y2K era children's shows that aired on broadcast channels like PBS and ABC. There was Arthur, there was Sabrina the Animated Series, and there was Archie's Weird Mysteries, the cartoon in which these guys fought the vampires, werewolves, and other monsters from various iconic B-movies, sometimes with the serial numbers filed off so they didn't get sued. And in the very second episode of the entire series, Archie and his friends went up against none other than a legally distinct and definitely non-actionable ripoff of Stephen King's famously evil hot rod, Christine. So our episode opens with Betty and Veronica hanging out at Betty's house. They're going jogging, which doesn't really seem like a very Betty and Veronica thing to do, which might explain why they're so easily sidetracked. Archie lives right next door after all, and so when they loudly hear him proclaiming his love for a mysterious her, what else are our girls to do but sneak over and spy on him to figure out which of them he's talking about? But when they peer around the side of the fence, they find a pretty startling sight. Oh, sorry, no, that's the wrong clip. Oh, okay, well actually, those are pretty much the same thing, so... Anyway, Archie has become very obsessed with his red convertible. This boy is kicking his feet and kissing it and calling it Betsy. And if you thought I was joking before about Archie canonically having 3 love interests in this episode, I'm super duper not. After watching Archie scold Jughead for getting crumbs in the car, Betty storms over to recapture his attention. She asks him to the school dance, and he gives the most bored yes that anyone has ever heard. Then Veronica pushes Betty out of the way and asks Archie out to the movies on a different night, and Archie gives her that same disinterested yes before he just wanders away, leaving Jughead to make things very clear to the audience.
Face it, girls. You have a new rival for Archie's affections. Goes by the name of Betsy.
So afterward, Betty and Veronica are commiserating at the local diner. You know it, it's the chocolate shop. So they're down in the dumps, and despite both having definitely just made dates with their mutual boyfriend, they're still feeling rejected somehow, which Reggie, this guy, sees as the perfect moment to swoop in and persuade one or maybe both of them to go out with him instead. He doesn't have any luck, his name isn't the one on the title after all, but he's thankfully not like a total creep about it. When he asks them what's wrong and why they both seem so down in the dumps today, they have to tell him about Betsy, and his response is probably the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
Archie's lucky enough to have 2 beautiful females moping over him, and all he wants to do is work on his car? Why, that's unnatural. That's wasteful. I am morally offended.
He is like offended that Archie has 2 girlfriends and would still rather play with his car than pay attention to them. And it's like Reggie has this whole 1950s heteronormative mindset that's like definitely misogynistic, but also somehow prompts him to literally march out of this restaurant to go confront Archie for not treating Betty and Veronica right. And I don't know what to do with that. But it's as Reggie confronts Archie that this all starts getting really weird.
Do I have to paint you a picture? You're neglecting the people in your life for this thing.
Please step away from the car.
Archie has installed a voice in the car. He has a voice alarm in the car now. It is a woman's voice. Archie now has a car that he kisses and that he has named Betsy and that talks to him in a woman's voice. This man is dating his car. And now that Reggie has offended him, he drives away in his car girlfriend. And that's actually how he's about to meet one of my favorite characters in this show. See, he's driving around aimlessly when he spots a pair of those fuzzy dice that people used to hang from their rearview mirrors, and so he stops to check out the store that's selling them. It's called
Dr. Beaumont's Emporium of Curios, Novelties, Antiquities, and Hard Lessons.
And so of course he has to go inside. And it's a very, very normal place. There's nothing weird at all here. There are absolutely no warning signs at all that this is clearly a shop full of cursed objects and Archie's weird mysteries. And it's run by this weirdo.
I'll be with you in a moment. I'm placing a long-distance order.
This is Dr. Beaumont, and he bends over absolutely backwards to try to get Archie to clock that, hey, maybe it's not the best idea to buy any random tchotchkes from a store that makes you ask,
What kind of a shop is this?
and that's run by a guy who magically knows your name, what your girlfriend looks like, exactly how much money you have in your pocket at the moment, and what you've promised your girlfriend to spend that money on instead of this nonsense. Like, look at this dude.
I strongly recommend not buying those.
I love everything about him. He is a weirdo, and you've got to listen to him. But no, it's only Archie's second weird mystery of the series, so I guess since he's new to this, we just have to chalk it up to him not being very genre savvy yet. So he demands to buy the dice in spite of all the warnings, and of course, he's just bought himself one of those tough lessons to go along with it.
I always hated when they go for the hard lessons.
So, now that Archie has the dice he wanted, he takes Betsy home and hangs them up on her rearview mirror, and so the lesson begins. The next day, Archie's working on Betsy's engine when Jughead walks up. Veronica, he says, is going to kill Archie when she sees him, because Archie has clearly forgotten that he's supposed to be going on a date with her in like 15 minutes. And then, because Archie has clearly been hit very hard on the head or something recently, he also for some reason needs Jughead to remind him that, hey, buddy, dates cost money? And he doesn't have any of that left after buying those hideous dice. What he does have, though, is a Jughead, and so he literally gets down on his knees and begs his friend to loan him some money. It is very pathetic. But Archie makes it to his date, and now that he's actually out with Veronica, he's at least paying attention to her again until Betsy decides that she doesn't like that. Betty and Veronica might be okay with both dating Archie at the same time, but apparently Betsy isn't down for all that 1950s style no commitment, let's date everybody stuff. She starts terrorizing Veronica, jostling her around and shoving her with the car seat, even drives them down this random bumpy road for no reason. And Veronica is actually kind of savvy about it. She actually says out loud that she kind of thinks the car is out to get her, but Archie talks her out of it. Obviously, a car can't be out to get anyone, right?
Nah, it couldn't be. Yow!
Yeah, so the car attacks Reggie, and honestly, I feel like Veronica actually really underreacts here.
You're not going to believe this, but your car has Reggie cornered up at street lamp!
Honestly, Reggie himself even underreacts to this. Once he gets down off the pole, he doesn't run into the shop to confront Archie or do anything that I would do. He just kind of wanders away. But that's fine, I suppose, because we've got other problems at the moment, namely the fact that Betsy is talking now. It's not just an alarm, she has sentience and human speech. She's threatening Veronica, actually, and demanding that Veronica get away from Archie immediately or else.
Did your car just talk to me?
Betsy?
You were warned, Veronica Lodge.
And again, we are all underreacting here. Veronica just leaves like Reggie just left, and that means Archie is all alone with his car now, and she demands that he gets in the driver's seat. I mean, she speaks to him in coherent English that he knows he didn't program her to know how to use, and she opens the car door for him, and she even puts on his seatbelt for him. And at no point does it seem to occur to him that, hey, maybe I should be a little bit worried about this? Maybe I shouldn't do what my car orders me to do? Like, man, you are being kidnapped by your own car. What are you doing? And kidnapped is genuinely the right word for it. The next time we see Archie, he says he has been driving for a day straight at least. Where are his parents? Why has no one noticed him driving around this small town for over 24 hours? Is Betsy's gas mileage really that good? Do teenage boys never need to eat or sleep? I feel like they do. I mean, Archie was already furious that Jughead dropped a few crumbs in the backseat. I am very skeptical of the idea that he's just been pissing in a bottle in the front. On the plus side, this experience has shaken Archie's devotion to his car.
I'm going to the spring dance. I want to spend some time with real people. You're just a machine.
And oh, poor Betsy, she's just a stupid old car, and she's so sad now. We should feel sorry for her, right?
You tricked me.
Oh, okay, no, never mind. Betsy busts out of the garage, chases Archie down, and announces that she's going to go and kill all of Archie's friends so he has no one left but her. Okay. So Archie rushes off to save everyone, of course, but he's too late. By the time he makes it to the school dance where everyone's hanging out, Betsy has already floored it straight into the gym and nearly run everyone over. It truly looks like Carrie has been in this place. Now, there's no bodies, thankfully, and were you really expecting them in this children's show? But there are a couple of very confused and frightened students still hanging around, and they're able to point Archie in the right direction. Benny, Veronica, Jughead, and Reggie have been chased up onto the school's knockoff version of the Thinker. This guy, while Betsy drives in circles and waits for one of them to fall off. And of course, it's a children's show, so every single one of them has to be a Butterfingers in this moment. Betty has to be saved by Reggie when she nearly falls, then Veronica nearly falls, and then Jughead actually does fall. He just flops to the ground and lays there like he's accepting his fate. But thankfully, that's when Archie takes a running leap into Betsy's front seat, and that is enough to distract her for a minute. And conveniently, it also puts Archie directly in arm's reach of the one way to save his friends right now.
Of course, the dice!
So he grabs the dice just in time, removing Betsy's sentience, and crashes head-on into the Thinker, somehow managing to be thrown like 20 feet at least through the air without getting so much as a bruise on him. Cartoon logic, we all wish we could be so lucky. But now that Betsy's dead and totaled, Archie has learned his obligatory children's cartoon moral lesson.
I'll get some auto shop to fix Betsy. I'd rather spend time with my friends.
And then, as our friends walk off into the night together, Dr. Beaumont shows up out of nowhere and carries the dice away.
Can't leave these lying around where anyone could pick them up. Not everyone needs to learn this lesson.
So now, let's talk about Christine.
Her name's Christine.
I like that.
Christine is Stephen King's 13th published novel. Released in 1983, it was adapted into a movie that same year. By the time Christine came out, of course, Stephen King was already Stephen King, so Christine was an immediate cultural touchstone. Everybody knows the concept of the evil car that tries to kill you. Sometimes it's jealous, sometimes it's just a murderer. But the plot of Christine is actually a little bit different from this quasi-adaptation. For one thing, King isn't the kind of author that actually tries to teach you a lesson. There was actually even a point in his career where he was outwardly outspoken against critical analysis of stories. It's a very weird little footnote in his career. But the plot of Christine is mostly straightforward horror. It's not really about a kid ignoring all of his friends in favor of working on his car, and it's also not really a story about a sentient car falling in love with someone. It's not exactly Stephen King's best novel, but there is plenty to like about it. It's very interesting. Christine tells the story of Arnie Cunningham, who buys a 1958 Plymouth Fury that the previous owner called Christine. He gets it for a great bargain, but unbeknownst to him, Christine has a history of deaths associated with her. And just like Archie became obsessed with Betsy, Arnie becomes obsessed with Christine. But while Archie's obsession was mostly an issue of underdeveloped time management skills and a little bit of lack of respect for his friends and family, Arnie's troubles are much more serious than that. The more time Arnie spends with Christine, the more he becomes her previous owner. See, Christine used to be owned by this very abusive man named Roland LeBay, not that Roland, and it's heavily implied that Christine actually killed both LeBay's daughter and his wife, or maybe that LeBay did it himself inside of Christine. And it seems that while Arnie owns Christine, he's practically becoming LeBay. Despite the fact that it's 1983, he turns himself into a 1950s greaser, complete with personality and wardrobe changes. Now, as I've implied, Betsy and Christine are similarly homicidal. Arnie's new, less nerdy personality wins him a girlfriend named Lee, but Christine nearly kills her, and Lee becomes pretty immediately convinced that something supernatural is going on with this car. She even sees glaring green lights on Christine's dashboard, very similar to Betsy's glowing green eyes in this episode. And throughout the story, various people in the town who have wronged Christine in some way keep winding up mysteriously killed in car accidents, to the point that the police actually do suspect Christine, but there's no good evidence that she is the car that's hitting these people, and Arnie, the only one that drives her, always has an alibi. It's as if the car is driving itself around, but that's not possible, is it? Toward the end of the story, Lee and Arnie's friend Dennis start getting really close, until, of course, Arnie sees them together and they both realize that Christine is probably going to come after them next because Arnie is now jealous of them. So what they do to solve this problem is they wait until Arnie goes out of town, and then they destroy Christine in this confrontation, during which Dennis actually does see the literal ghost of LeBay inside the car. And then it's even implied that off-screen, LeBay attempted to possess Arnie after Christine was destroyed, which caused Arnie himself to die in a car accident and accidentally kill his whole family as well. It's super happy stuff. But I will just make two fun little notes about it. If this weren't written by Stephen King, another author might have taken the opportunity to explore some of the fun potential gender stuff that's happening here. I mean, unlike in Archie's Weird Mysteries, where it's made pretty clear that Betsy is like a femme-adjacent sentience, in Christine, there might not actually be a Christine as we understand it at all. What we might know as Christine might just be a car that happens to be possessed by its former owner, an abusive man, which brings up some interesting things to think about in terms of cars being referred to as she, her, the car being owned by Arnie, and LeBay possibly attempting to leave Christine in favor of possessing Arnie permanently. And as a second point, I also just really like the end note of Christine. At one point in the novel, Christine is totaled and then she seems to magically rebuild herself over time. And the novel actually ends with this moment where Dennis is reading about a car accident in which one of the people who helped destroy Christine in that aforementioned incident was mysteriously killed by a car that drove through a wall to get him. And Dennis thinks that, hey, that sounds suspicious. Maybe Christine, despite having been almost completely destroyed during the climax, what if she rebuilt herself again? What if Christine is still coming for them? And I like that. That's fun. That's the cheesy, it's not over yet, that movies do sometimes, but in a way that I actually really like. Now, I will admit I have never seen the film adaptation of Christine, so I can't actually attest to how that differs from the book. And honestly, Christine isn't even the originator of the Car Comes to Life plotline. 1977 saw the release of a film called The Car, and in 1978 there was Killdozer, Not This Guy, a movie about a meteorite that brings to life a bulldozer that immediately becomes homicidal. I think it's possessed by an alien or something. Really, homicidal car is like a microgenre at this point. There's an episode of Supernatural about a murderous ghost truck, and yes, that episode is referred to as the racist ghost truck episode, so that should give you a hint of what it's about. And then, of course, I guess maybe Rubber is an honorable mention, because that is about a sentient tire that kills people. And of course, even authors like R.L. Stine have pulled this trope off in their horror stories. All in all, though, I think this is a fun little episode. Archie's Weird Mysteries loves to pay homage to all the decades of horror that came before it, and I'm really looking forward to going back through these episodes again as an adult. This series has got this trilogy of episodes about vampires that I just adored when I was a kid, and there's also this trilogy about time travel that's very heavily based on Back to the Future, and there's episodes about pirates and sea monsters and werewolves and cockroaches that pretend to be people, which I think might be a reference to Mimic. We'll find out, but it's a fun show, it's wacky, and it really is one of my childhood favorites. So, like and subscribe if you're interested in more of this nonsense, and I will be back with more Archie very, very soon.
It's bad enough when Archie dates you, but this is too humiliating.